Hi, I'm Lenora.
I'm Kristen. Hello.
I'm Isabel. Hola.
Hi, my name is Lenora Bay. I'm a child-free lifestyle advocate, speaker, and moderator. I was moderator for the 2022 Virtual Child-Free Convention, which you can now watch in replay form on Child-Free Convention YouTube channel.
Hi, I'm Isabel. I'm the founder and firebrand of the Uprising Spark. I am the child-free friend you always wanted but never knew you needed. I also organize trips for child-free women and child-free people in general. I'm also the host of the Honest Supper podcast and co-founder of Nunca Madres, Child-Free in Spanish.
Yes. And I am Kristen Tetsi, the author of The Age of the Child and other things. Essentially, I'm just a writer, I guess. That's all I do. That's all I am. And I like it. And we are the three founding non-mothers of Childfree Girls. Today, we're talking about something I think that will probably, I think everyone's probably had some kind of experience with this as people living in the world among parents and children. There's an AITA post on Reddit. And we all know what AITA stands for, don't we?
You can say it.
Yeah, you can say it. We swear on the show.
Am I the asshole? I'm going to condense this.
Can you do that again?
A little. I'm going to condense this just a little bit. Essentially, this 30-year-old who went to see a movie with her friends wants to know if she is the asshole. Because about 20 minutes into the movie, a family comes in with 3 kids, all about 10 to 12 years old. And as she's watching the movie, there's some giggling, there's some loud talking, but then eventually popcorn is being thrown. And at one point, a wet piece of popcorn hits her arm. And at the end of the movie, she walks over and asks who was throwing these things, who was spitballing these things. The mother walked over, mad, and she got mad that this girl was yelling at her kids. In a somewhat similar situation, I was at a park just a couple days ago, and there's a very, very small swimming area, and there are geese that kind of live around this little lake. And the geese obviously stupidly, were walking around in the same area where these kids were playing. Usually they're on a whole separate part of the water, but this time they were near the kids. And the kids were like, screech, screech. What?
Are they Canadian geese?
Yes.
Okay. Enough said.
That's their problem. That's where it all started. But these kids are screeching and splashing, and like, the geese are coming to get us, the geese are chasing us, and they're kids, so I get that behavior, even though they were very, 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 very loud. Then at one point, this girl starts like taking rocks out of the sand from the water and she's throwing it at the geese. And so I called over, please don't throw rocks at them, just please don't. And meanwhile, there are 2 adults at this park watching these kids, and the adults are saying nothing. They're apparently cool with rocks being thrown at animals that we are sharing the park with, by the way. Oh, and then a couple weeks before that, or maybe a month before that, I saw a bunch of boys chasing after frogs and like trying to stomp on them instead of just letting them be. And the adults, again, were doing nothing. So here's where, a lot of parents will say that everyone is responsible for the welfare and the upbringing of the next generation. They want our taxes to help pay for this. They talk about how their kids are going to be responsible for taking care of us when we get old, since we're not having our own kids. So therefore we should give back by helping care for these kids. But they kind of seem to get irritated. The mothers didn't say anything to me after I asked the kids to not throw rocks, but they were watching Ian and I as we walked away with Lenny, like, how dare she say something to our children who are under our care? So I guess I want to know what you two think, first of all, since I think I stated my opinion without stating it. What do you think about this? What is our role, in fact, in caring for or being responsible for this next generation? And can one happen without the other? Can we be expected to pay taxes for these kids and help parents bring them up, and just be expected to step away when it comes to them being little shits if the parents aren't doing anything? Spinning the wheel. Lenora, go first.
So, okay, keep in mind the context that I live in Canada. I am the person that if I need to say something, if I need to ask children to, lower their voices, or, don't throw something, or go away from the stairs. We're running a business and people, like, you're in people's way. I feel okay saying that. There have been, it's funny because, like, when it comes to younger kids and parents like kind of around, I feel like I can still say something gently. I haven't had an interaction where it's been received negatively. It's just kind of, or actually, you know what I've been really good at is giving a look. I'm really good at that. Giving a look, the message gets across, and things get dealt with. Like, you know,
For me, see the look. I want to see the look. Oh, I like that.
And
You
she
shut me
points,
up.
looks and points. Yeah.
and generally that works. Watch, I'm gonna go somewhere, and that won't work now. I've said my secret, but you know, I think I guess maybe because that like as a child I had that done to me. I hated it, of course. Um, but maybe because we were the generation where we respected our elders, but did we? Uh, not to be that person. But I will do that because the movie theater thing. Oh, like this is why I go to the VIP theater where it's 18 plus only. So you're occasionally dealing with a drunk person. But I now no longer go to the theater where there's young kids involved. But I live in a big city where we have those, so you know that's not the case for everyone. But yeah, I feel like why not say like something's disruptive to you? That's within our right. And I mean, again, uh honestly, it comes down to like I rather would go talk to the parents and say like, "What are you doing?" or "What are you not doing?" Like, "Hello, this is pay attention," you know. But that's me, and maybe because in Canada we say it a little nicer. I don't know.
I was gonna say maybe your experience is because you're from Canada.
That's why I said the context.
People
Remember, people, I'm in Canada.
are way too nice and they say sorry all the time about everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I know you guys have like that's like the Canadian stereotype. Um, and I think it's true, I guess. I mean,
It's
because
the sorry thing is like honestly, if someone you know when I do see a child really acting up in a public space like a grocery store, you will not find a more like apologetic parent than in a
exactly.
Canadian grocery store, and they're
Mhm.
just like want to pay for everybody's groceries because they're like really embarrassed. I mean, it's again, it's not everybody, but generally speaking, people are like, "Oh, sorry, we're disrupting you. We'll, you know, move."
Yeah.
Man, I wish it were like that in this country.
Well, I wish it
Here,
was
it's
like
like,
that in my country.
is it also not like that there? Like kids are just allowed to freak out and
Well, I mean, you find parents who actually do something about their kids being annoying and just, doing inappropriate things in public places. Like you see parents who actually like, stop it, right? But there are also some parents who are like extremely permissive and they do, do whatever. They don't care. I don't know if it's because they've already had enough of the child the whole day and then they go out and it's just like, dude, disrupt the whole world. They're not disrupting me right now. I don't fucking care. I don't know what it is. Um, so I also try to like give like sort of silent cues to the children, sort of like a look or just kind of like go if they're being really loud, it's not really silent, but go just like just like that in the movie theater, for example. Very dry, very short. Nobody knew who did it. I would not ever dare tell a kid off in front of their parents here. Like that's not a thing.
What would
Because
happen? Like, what if a what if a kid threw something at you?
well, if the kid threw something at me, I would say, "Don't throw that at me." And I mean, if the parents come and say, "I don't tell my kids about it," well, your kid is actually hitting me with that. Like it's just being disruptive. He's in my personal space. But if the child's like, I don't know, running around a restaurant and screaming, but
Mm.
he's not near me, he's somewhere around me, like I wouldn't dare. I think people here are very protective of their children, and I think parents. I will say not all parents, but in general, parents are just very touchy about the way they're parenting. So they don't want to be told how to parent. They don't want to be told how to parent by their own parents. They don't want to be told how to parent by other parents, and even less by child-free people. Like we're like the worst person that can tell them how to parent, quote unquote, how to parent, because we don't have children and we don't want children. I've never experienced that myself, but I have heard people say, "You don't have a child. Don't tell me what to do with my kid." And to that, I always think I don't never answer, but because, like I said, it hasn't been said to me but I always think, yeah, but I was a child as well. Like I mean, I'm not a mother. I don't want to be a mother, but I was a child, and I got disciplined by my parents. Like I learned how to respect other people's private space. I learned how to respect public spaces. I knew how to manage myself when I wasn't at home because my parents did the job that they're supposed to do. And you're not doing it, which is very annoying. Like I said, it's not all parents, but I do find that they get very defensive. And so that made me think because I think this is a great subject in the sense that, yes, I mean, race it takes a village. We're expected to chip in any way, either with our taxes or I don't know, maybe some people who have siblings who are parents or close cousins or relatives or friends or whatever. They might also be expected to babysit for free, to, I don't know, to take the child one day. I mean, and I'm saying this as expected and not like, I know, Lenora, you taking your nephews because you like having them at home and you like spending time with them.
I do, yes.
But some people are actually expected to do that, you know, every now and again, or maybe every Saturday or I don't know. So, and I think if you don't want us to interfere with your parenting, why are you asking us to also be part of the village? Like, it doesn't, to me, doesn't make any sense. And I don't feel that telling a kid off when they're doing something wrong is parenting either or interfering with parenting. I think we all live as a society. We have to be able to live with each other in different spaces. And I think we need to learn that since we're very young. Otherwise, we're just raising a bunch of psychopaths. That's it.
Entitled psychopaths or just entitled people.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look, to that point, we have bylaws. Yes, we have bylaws here in Canada, by the way. That is necessary. But like there are rules, like civilized life here, generally speaking, that adults have to follow. So why not? I mean, a child doesn't necessarily need a bylaw per se, but even still, okay, look, you go to the swimming pool here, they have to be accompanied by at least someone who's 14 years old. There are rules for behavior at the swimming pool, for children and for adults, right? So, this whole, kids being kids thing, well, kids are only kids for a short period of time. And if they're not taught basic manners, we get presidents. Sorry. It's just, I always have to pick on Americans for some reason. But
Hey, we had one Trump, all right?
But one is more than enough. That
is more. There's no excuse.
I was gonna
for that. There's
say, like,
absolutely no excuse.
No, that's more than enough. I mean, honestly, you made me think about something I read not long ago. Because the thing about rules is just that they apply everywhere. I mean, we're talking about rules in a country, and then maybe in a state there are some different rules, and then in a city, and then in your own fucking home there are also rules.
Yeah.
And I read someone I think it was on Am I the Asshole thread as well. It was somebody, she's a parent, she has like a child, and she has friends who have two children, and their friends are the ones who tell their kids, if you don't eat your dinner, you won't get any dessert. That type of parent, right? So she was saying that whenever her child went to have dinner at their home, she was okay with the rule of if you don't eat, you don't get dessert. But she doesn't apply in her home. Like if her kid doesn't want to eat the whole thing, she still gives the kid dessert. Fine, it's your kid. But then their friends came over for dinner to their home. And so the other mother was telling the children, if you don't eat everything, you won't get dessert. And the child who lives in the home, like she looked at her mom was like, doesn't apply to you. Like, this is your home, it's fine. So the other mother got mad because this one was telling her child that she could have dessert even though she hadn't finished her food, right? But these are like rules, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to raise your children like that, that's okay, but don't expect people, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, like what you're it's like the balance of being respectful to how people are raising their children and how another person's raising their child.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, being a child-free person, we are going to interact with people who have kids of various ages. And yeah, it's just, but still, bottom line, I think when it comes to your own space, and if you are being disrespected by a child, I don't care how old it is, why not say something? I mean, half the time it's the delivery and how you say it, or just give a look and, no. I also do that to dogs. If I see them coming towards me and I'm like, I'm in a dress, don't come. They listen. They stop.
Oh,
usually.
yeah.
I mean, I'm very firm. I will say, being a teacher at a young age taught me how to be very firm with children. So it was like, respect me, I will respect you back. That also applies to most adults too. But although I go, hey, don't come near me. Actually, no, I do that.
with other
Everybody gets,
adults.
don't come near me.
Yeah, respect
But
Nora's personal space.
exactly. But you know what? And this is how, and this is just my opinion, but teaching kids to respect you and what your wishes are, and therefore you can respect kids, because I absolutely believe in respecting children. That's my personal opinion, and I say that as, again, someone who was a teacher for a long time. I respect the child, and you respect me back, and I believe in that. I think that you can have a respectful dynamic with children, um, and that helps. Of course, when you're just interacting and you don't know the kids and you're just like walking down the street and you're like they're throwing stuff at you. I mean, still, why not? I'm look, okay, that's a little bit. I can't really say it that way because there's always circumstances. But in theory, I think that everyone, you should be able to ask for respect for whoever you're interacting with. Doesn't mean you're always going to get it, but I do believe in theory that we all have the right to say that. Like, please respect me, and then go do your shit somewhere else. you know.
I also don't think I don't think it should have to only apply to when they are impacting you personally. Like if you people are way too into not getting involved as it is in at least in this country. Like there was, oh, this was in Italy. I guess it's all over the world. There was video footage of a man beating and strangling to death another man on the sidewalk, and people are standing around yelling, but no one's doing shit. Like I was talking to Ian about this last night, and I was like, I would hope that I would throw my phone at his head. He's not looking, he's on the guy, his back is turned. How can you watch someone doing that and not get involved? And in this country especially, people are just like, none of my business. And I think if we do that, that allows a lot of bad stuff to happen. We just sit there and watch it. Like, what is that? And there's so much footage of this here. There was a couple of years ago, there was a guy lying in the street. I don't know if he had been hit by a car or if he had been pushed into the street. Either way, he was just lying there. Cars are driving by him. Nobody's stopping to pick him up. So if we if we're doing this to adults and we're doing it to kids, like we're just allowing this bad behavior it's almost like condoning it and or endorsing it. Like if I
Mhm.
had not told those kids to not throw rocks at geese, how am I a steward of the planet and the planet's creatures? And how am I not at least someone in these kids' lives teaching them not to be little dickheads? If their parents aren't doing it, someone has to.
Mhm.
And that's all, I think, just part of being a decent person. I wish I would have said something to those kids with the frogs, but I think there were too many adults and only one of me, and I was frightened. But if it seems reasonably safe, and I couldn't throw my phone at the kids, obviously. Plus, it's not like they were attacking other kids. But like if parents are there and a kid is attacking another kid, you say something. You don't just let them do it because the parent thinks it's okay. I mean, we all know that there are really, really bad parents out there, way too many of them, and so maybe their kids could use a little bit of good influence.
And are maybe the parents scared of the kids?
That's true.
Maybe.
Well, then that's not my problem.
No, it isn't. No,
I
I'm,
don't
I'm
care.
yeah, and I don't ask that question to excuse anything, but just to think about.
But they're
Our parents.
young, so if they're scared of their kids, then they're clearly not disciplining them because, oh no,
Mhm.
Tommy might not like me, in
Yeah.
which case you also shouldn't have kids.
Yeah.
When you mentioned in the States, like how people don't get involved, I think one of the reasons, and this is something I heard somebody say, I can't remember exactly what we're talking about, but you can get sued for anything and everything in the States. Like that doesn't happen here, for example.
Mhm.
Um, but I can imagine that if you're trying to help,
Nice. Good thunder. We need that here.
Remember that time she was like in a firestorm of bullets, and we were like, "What's that?"
Yes.
And Isabel's like, "Oh yeah, no, that's just gunfire." And Kristen and I are like, "Okay."
Just another day in Colombia.
Yeah.
the Friday in the jungle. Um, yeah, so um, thinking about specifically the person who's like in the street, maybe this person is injured or something. Like if you're not part of rescue or, you know, and you just try to help that person, you can get sued by the same person you're trying to help.
Yes, that is true.
And that happens a lot in the States. I don't know Italy, like what happened in Italy specifically, but I do remember that when I lived in France, people don't get involved at all. But that's just like it's like a sort of like a trait of their culture.
Like
It's like
everyone's on their own journey, man. This is your journey.
everyone's
It's
on
none of
their
my
own path,
business.
and you can be somebody can be murdering someone on the right side and like raping somebody on your left, and nobody does or says anything at all. But that I find that apathy really disturbing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know that they're not the only people who behave like that. And I understand what you say when you say, you should try to get involved when something wrong's happening. You try to raise your voice and do something about it. I don't know. I mean, in the case of children torturing animals, they're little psychopaths. Like, they're going to grow up to be horrible people.
Well, I think most kids, there's like torturing, and then because I think up until a certain age, you honestly just don't have the same level of empathy that you do when you get older. So, I mean, torture, like throwing rocks at something, I don't know that they see how mean it is. I think they're just like, "You goose, throw a rock at it," which is which was why I nicely said, "Please don't do that," because they were still pretty young, and I honestly think there is a scale, of just kind of little kid ignorance versus absolute utter cruelty. Yeah, I see what you're saying about like not like maybe even not pulling someone out of a car wreck because you could mess them up, with and rescue would know how to do it. So I totally get that. However, seeing someone beating someone to death or choking them to death and just kind of watching, or seeing someone getting raped and just standing by, like unless you are genuinely afraid for your life. But then you have people who run into burning buildings and there's danger there. Like if someone has a gun, sure, I'm not going to get involved. But if there's a guy just on top of another guy killing him, I would like to think I'd pick up something heavy and whack him over the head with it.
Well, it makes you think of what recent events where that happened and people videoed it and that was it. But I mean, didn't save the
And
guy,
those were
but that
police.
came out. Yeah. I was
So
trying not
that's
to get too deep into that conversation, but I mean it's uh, yeah,
police with
it's
guns who are actively killing someone
mhm,
are probably not not going to be compelled by you approaching them to stop.
probably
You know
not.
what I mean?
No, no. Um
Get in a badge.
And all I want to say to that is like, well, those were someone's children at one point. I mean, they're still someone's children, but those were like little kids at one point.
I
You
know, isn't
know,
that
The
weird?
cop.
You look at some people
all of them,
sometimes and you
everybody,
think,
everybody involved in that
yeah,
situation. I mean, everyone that's ever existed
everywhere.
was somebody's kid. I mean,
Everybody was
well,
a little kid
look, I
once.
was born 30. I was, yeah, I was fully formed when I came out of the womb. But um, no, but I
But then
mean,
again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, it's just that when you think about, children are the future. Well, we've all been someone's future.
Yeah.
And we've all been like someone's hope. As Kristen famously said years ago, there's a lot of hope walking around. When we were saying like babies are hope. Just the way you said it, I've never forgot that. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if you
yeah.
girls heard, this was in the news maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago. This mother who actually turned her son to the police because she saw the kid's diary or something, and I think the kid was planning like a shooting in the school, and she gave him to the police. Like she called the police on her own child, saying, "This is not about me." And then she says, "This is not about him or me. This is about a whole school, like children in a school." Did you hear
Yes.
that piece of news?
No.
Yeah. I think she's from Texas. I can't remember exactly where, but I remember thinking that's a responsible thing to do.
Yeah,
Like just
that
because
had
they're
to,
just because they're your children, you're not supposed to cuddle them and protect them no matter what. Like you need to do the right thing because your children are actually going to grow to interact with a lot other human beings who are
Mhm.
not part of their family, and they need to know how to respect and value other people's lives.
It's teaching accountability. And I mean that accountability is something is severely lacking. It's like so easy to blame someone else and or justify your actions, but like even oh god, I take that conversation personally because lately I've had the accountability thing has hit very close to home, and it drives me nuts. And it's not easy. Look, like when you fuck up, it's not easy to take accountability, but it's necessary. And unfortunately, and this really does stem to the original question about calling out behavior even in kids. It's like teaching you have to be taught accountability as a young person, like when you're young, even if that term isn't used. But if you don't, it's just another thing that's gonna um impact your adulthood. And again, it's not easy. No one likes to be chastised. No one likes to be told that they're wrong and that they messed up and they have to take responsibility for it. It's not easy. It's not easy as an adult, but I mean it helps you get through life. you
and
know
you know what? The first time you do it, because it is hard, and I think it's like there's always a first time that you do it because there's the first time you're aware of doing it. Because I know that as a very argumentative person, I had a long time of avoiding being trapped into having to admit that I was wrong. Like, I think I got really good at arguing. My dad trained me, but I tried to develop ways to do it in such a way that I wouldn't gaslight or anything, but I'd find ways to work it so that I was still right somehow. But then there was a time, I don't remember when it was, like, I don't remember when it was or what the situation was that I admitted that I was wrong, but I knew that it was important to say that I was wrong because I really care about this person I was talking to. And you just have to do that sometimes and say, you're absolutely right. I was being this way, I was being that way. I am completely wrong about this, no matter what it is. And the funny thing is that after the first time you do it, like, the moments leading up to it feel terrible and saying it feels kind of bad. But once you say it, it seriously feels good. It feels confident. It feels like, wow, admitting I'm wrong is actually it's almost like, it's like people think that admitting to having insecurities makes them look insecure. But I think nothing makes you look less secure than pretending you have no insecurities. You know,
Correct.
so if you have the
Oh my god.
confidence to say you're wrong
Mhm.
or to admit to your insecurities, I mean, that also just makes you feel good as a person. And then it also just gets easier every time.
And it builds trust.
Mm.
I am
Yeah.
more likely
Yeah,
to
for
trust
sure.
and develop a relationship with somebody who has taken accountability, is says, even if they say it so awkwardly, "Look, I fucked up, I'm sorry." I
Yeah,
am going to trust you more or less, for the most part. And I'm going to
right.
want to continue to interact with you because that also makes me go, okay, so yes, I will take accountability for my actions as well. Um, and if we can communicate with that, like that, to one another, if we've messed up or whatever, that's a good thing, and that makes me trust people. It's the ones that that don't, like, I look, I'm terrible at saying I'm sorry. I will make it up for you with my actions. I am an act of service type of person. To me, like, the whole I'm sorry thing and then continuing to do the same bad behavior, that I hate. So that's why I hate I'm sorry. But there's still ways of taking accountability and apologizing without, and there's other ways of doing that too. But when I know that someone refuses to take accountability or even say I'm sorry or what have you, like, to me, I'm already backing away. Personally, professionally, everything, because I'm like, I can't move forward. I don't trust you because if something, you're not going to have my back, like that. And if they do it more than once, then I'm done. So,
If you don't say I'm sorry, do you say something that is a form of acknowledgement
well, I
that can
do
be
say I'm
like I
sorry,
shouldn't
but
have done that? Like
yeah,
maybe just I shouldn't have done that or
I have learned how to incorporate I'm sorry, but I don't stop at that. It's like, I'm sorry. Here's all the ways I'm making it up to you. That's how I
oh,
do it because I can't just say I'm sorry because people say that all the time and then continue to do the same
yeah.
thing. So for me personally, and it's something that I like having done to me as well. I mean, everyone has a different style, but I'll say I'm sorry and then I will like continue, I will do things for you, or I will, that's appropriate to, rectify the situation. So I
I
can't.
want to piss you off so you make really good
No, you
food
don't.
and then freeze dry it and no, but you're gonna feel bad. So that I want to make you do
Please,
something bad to me so you have
please,
to apologize and then send me food in like a nice little container.
because I would do that. No, you don't want to piss Lenora, not really, because I will never speak to people again. If it gets to that point, I will disappear. You will never be in my life again. So,
No, you have to be the one doing something wrong. I'm not gonna do it.
oh, oh, okay, you guys, she's trying to set me up. Please keep an eye out for Kristen. Let me
Just
know.
make me dinner.
You- Kristen, just ask. You don't have to piss me off. It's much better. Or no, not piss me off. You don't have to set me up to do something bad. So
Yeah.
just ask, and I will I will cook for you. But you have to show up when we're going to be in the same country as you.
Okay.
You're what?
No, that wasn't an okay. It was like I get
What?
it.
Oh, okay.
Did she say she's moving?
I heard you're moving. That's what you said.
No, I'm not moving. I said okay. I said okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
Okay,
swear I
like
thought you
okay.
said you were moving.
Yeah, I heard
No,
the same thing.
I'm
I
never
was
leaving her.
Okay,
expecting her to say, "I'm moving to California."
that would be awesome. Yeah. Okay. So no, for the record, no one's pissing anybody off here. But accountability is important and not easy to do. But in the long run, it's a good thing to know how to take accountability for your actions, and that goes for any age, really.
It's an adult thing to do.
It
I
is.
think when you're a child, you're still very afraid of saying, "Oh, yes, I messed up," and to recognize that you're flawed and you make mistakes. But I think it's part of the process of growing up.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't
Yeah.
teach children since they're very young that it's okay to admit that they made a mistake, and it's okay to say, "I'm sorry, I was being an asshole in the restaurant," or "I'm sorry, I was throwing rocks at the geese," or whatever,
Mhm.
then when they grow up, they're going to be able to do that as well and not feel bad about it. Because to me, saying I'm sorry to apologizing whenever I know I'm wrong, it's liberating. It totally is liberating. And I'm like you, Lenora, like I also like to show people that I really am sorry by changing whatever it is that they don't like. If it's something within reason, of course, but yeah. So
And see,
in conclusion, sorry, what?
no, conclude.
No, I was just gonna say, in conclusion, I think that parents in general, and this is not me telling you what to do with your kids and how to parent them, but I think as a person who interacts with your children and will do for the rest of my life in some way or another, um, I think it's important that you teach children accountability, like Lenora mentioned, and how to, say, yes, I messed up. Yes, I fucked up. I'm really sorry. And to actually mean it.
Mhm.
I think that's a really good, valuable lesson to teach them. I wasn't taught that, for example, and I wish my parents would. So,
Yeah, I don't think you need to have kids um to have an opinion about how a kid should be raised. If everyone knows if a parent is doing something wrong. If little Timmy is running back and forth in a grocery store screaming really loud that he wants the lollipop and his mom finally says, "Okay, you can have the lollipop." We all know that's not a good precedent to set for this kid. Or if she lets her kid hit another kid and doesn't say anything. Like, when behavior is bad, you don't have to have a kid to be able to tell that person that is bad. And if it were the rule that having a kid allowed you to teach other parents how to raise their kids, then other parents would listen to other parents and take advice from them. But they don't, as you said earlier, Isabel. So have kids, don't have kids, nobody wants the advice, but some people just need it. And you don't have to have kids to know it because, as you also said, we have all been kids. We've all been raised by parents. And as long ago in years as it might seem, if you count the years, the memories are not that distant. I mean, I can go back to 5 years old like that, or to any time I was disciplined or any time
Mhm.
whatever. Uh, so yeah, I don't think having kids makes you an expert because you know what? A lot of people are having kids for the first time, so they don't know what the hell they're doing either. It's their first time. They know as much as we do.
Which is actually a lot.
We do. We know a lot. We know a lot.
that is all for today's episode. Thank you so much for sticking with us. As you may already know, or maybe not, you can reach us at childfreegirls@gmail.com. You can send us emails with questions, comments. You can even send suggestions for next episodes. We love receiving those. Our website is childfreegirls.com, and we also have a column, sort of like a blog post. Dear Childfree Girls, you can send us an email if you have any questions regarding the Childfree lifestyle or something you want to share with us and you want some input in or on. input on, just send us an email in the subject line, put Dear Traffic. Also, we know that you want us to answer. You get one answer per person. That means 3 answers, one from Lenora, one from Kristen, one from Isabel. And if you want to remain anonymous, you can also do that. Just let us know in your email you want to remain anonymous.
And of course, we are all over social media. We are at Child for Girls on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we're on Amazon. Our book, Child for Girls Comfort Food for Thought, is available in paperback and on Kindle.
And the question for you, I guess, is where do you think the line is when it comes to what others are allowed to contribute to another person's child's education, let's say?
Ooh.
Does that make sense as a question? Okay. So yeah, let us know in an email if you want to keep it very private. That might be a personal question. I don't know. Or you can leave it in the comments below. Please do not forget to subscribe if you are not yet a subscriber. That's very helpful. And I mean, obviously it helps us, but it also keeps you informed anytime there's a new episode, which is what's really important here. And it also, I think, makes you happy to give us a rating. So you can feel free to give us a rating and make yourself happy, either on Apple Podcasts or iTunes or whatever, or on YouTube.
Yeah, it's really easy to give a 5-star review, especially on Spotify. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's at the very end. I mean, it's just, you just like it.
Don't forget to tune in a couple of weeks for our newest episode.
Bye.
Bye.